Casting, Diana Thompson.
Imagine that you are going through your life, visualizing yourself as the hero of your own life's journey. I mean, you're trying to be a genuinely good person, solving problems, trying to have a positive impact on the world. On a good day, you can imagine yourself wearing spandex and leather and honey, it looks good. But then you come to find out that in someone else's story, you play the villain. That can be a real shock to someone who's trying to be a hero. I mean, maybe it is a divorce, a separation, a falling out of family, friends, neighbors. It's a conflict of will, a battle of emotions, a division of people getting what they want and need or not. But when you discover that you play that role in someone else's story, it can be rather jolting. You may not know this, but actors have very little control over the roles that they're cast in. Unless you are at the very top level of the industry, you might not even know what the role is until you've accepted it. When you go in for this series of auditions, you're given a side, which is a page or two, sometimes a scene from whatever it is that you're auditioning for. Sometimes you'll get a little blurb that tells you a little bit about the character, but you rarely know much about it. Once you're cast, you get the script, and then you see what it's all about. You don't always have control. The actress who played the Wicked Witch of the West was named Margaret Hamilton. And there's a famous story about how her agent called to tell her she'd been awarded the role of the witch, and she imagined that it was the role of Glinda, the Good Witch. And ironically, before they cast Margaret Hamilton, they had cast a more glamorous actress to play that role. But when she turned it down, they decided to go with Margaret Hamilton because she would look great, covered in green and coming out of a plume of red smoke in full Technicolor, because that was new to the industry. Margaret Hamilton had accepted the role before she really understood what it entailed, and she was concerned because she was a school teacher. She loved children, and she was afraid that she would go down in history as the source of children's nightmares for generations. And in fact, that's true. If you Google the most frightening villains of all time, her face will come up in the top 10 every time. But she didn't want that to be her legacy. After she played the role, she traveled to schools all over the country speaking to children, letting them know that was just a part, that it wasn't really who she was. She even visited Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. But I promise no one here could name another part that she played, because she'd been cast in that role. We don't always have control over the roles that we are cast in. And if you're trying to be a hero, sometimes that is a real problem. But we get cast in these roles, and then what? If you're cast in a role in someone else's story, the script is written by someone else. Your likeness is in the story. It can be in syndication before you even know the story is out. Your name is in the credits, and there's nothing you can do because your likeness is in public domain. That story is being told. So if you're trying to be a hero, what do you do about this? I was faced with that dilemma because I like to think that I am working towards being a hero. And let me tell you, that is not a lucrative job title. And I had to ask myself, what does it mean to be a hero, And what does it mean to be a villain? And how do you know which role you play in life? If you look at the roles, hero and villain, they're opposite sides of the same mirror. They have a lot in common. And the closer you look at them, you'll see all of the similarities. Sometimes it's really hard to see the difference between the two. They have a lot in common. For example, they both follow a journey. But a hero will start at a weaker point, and they'll travel, they'll learn lessons, and become stronger and more powerful. But a villain, some say their journey travels backwards. So they start at a more powerful place, and they don't learn the lessons, and they become weaker along the way. So, if you are asking the question, am I a hero or a villain? That is a check mark in the hero column, because villains do not self-evaluate. They don't ask the question, am I a hero or a villain? They're happy to be who they are. Change is uncomfortable to them. But a hero is focused on growth. So that's one clue. A villain focuses on manipulation to get what they want. Now, heroes and villains both have their goals. They both have their missions, and they will sometimes do outrageous and completely irrational things to achieve those goals. But a villain pays no attention to who is impacted by their actions. A hero will sometimes sacrifice themselves trying to achieve the goal, and they're very aware of the impact of those around them. A villain is manipulative, and they lack empathy. That might be the key, that a villain lacks the ability to really put themselves in someone else's shoes. They have a more difficult time recognizing how someone else feels, or even caring about that. A hero can care too much. So it comes down to, is there one way that you can know if you are playing the hero or the villain? And I found a quote by Jimi Hendrix. He said, if the power of love can overcome the love of power, then we will have peace. And I think that's true for heroes and villains too. If you can love the storyteller and empathize with whatever has caused them to tell the story, then you're going to grow. You'll find yourself back on the hero's journey, and you will find